You're listening to the N332 podcast, brought to you by Mark Nolan's podcast.com and Mad Black Cat. Here is Mark Nolan.
Hello and welcome to the N332 podcast, coming to you from a very sunny Costa Blanca. My name is Mark Nolan and it's great to have you with us this week. We have a packed show for you with a look at some of the latest developments from the DGT here in Spain and from national highways back in the UK. We'll be taking a deep dive into the lives of the brave men and women who rescue people from the wreckage of traffic accidents. And we'll also be looking at a new trial that could be a huge step forward in the fight against potholes. We'll also have an update on the latest articles from the N332 website and a look back through motoring history. First up, let's get into our top stories, starting here in Spain, where the DGT has been shining a light on a problem that is often overlooked: the difficulties of living and driving in rural Spain. In a recent article, the DGT highlighted a very real disparity in mobility. With over 15% of the Spanish population living on nearly 84% of the country's territory, people in these sparsely populated areas are heavily reliant on their cars. The article points out that with an average of 698 vehicles for every 1,000 residents compared to just 470 in urban areas, the car isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. The frustration is understandable, as residents often feel let down by a lack of decent public transport. The good news is that both public and private initiatives are being explored to introduce sustainable transport alternatives, such as car-sharing apps and on-demand collective transport, all of which aim to bridge this mobility gap and prevent geographical isolation. Now, let's head across to the UK, where Hertfordshire County Council has been making headlines with an innovative trial to tackle a universal problem for motorists of potholes. Over a 2-week period, the council trialled a new one-visit more impact approach using a special road mender machine. The technique involves heating and pouring a mastic asphalt material to repair not only the large potholes that meet the council's repair criteria, but also the smaller defects in the road surface that would otherwise be left to develop into bigger problems later on. By tackling a whole section of a road in one go, the trial aims to reduce costs and disruption while keeping roads safer for longer. The results are now being reviewed, and it's a very interesting development to watch. And finally, back to Spain, where we're going to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible work of the emergency services. In a powerful article titled "Rescuing Lives Against the Clock," the DGT has shared the experiences of firefighters and Guardia Civil officers who are the first on the scene of a serious traffic accident. The piece really brings home the reality of their work. They explain that every accident is unique and the first few moments are crucial. They have to quickly secure the area, stabilize the vehicle, and assess the nature of the impact, as this dictates how they go about extracting the victims. It's a hugely demanding job, physically and mentally, and the article is a fantastic and much-needed tribute to these professionals who make split-second, life-saving decisions under immense pressure. Now, moving on to our segment where we delve into the N332 website, which, if you don't already know, is a fantastic resource for English-speaking drivers in Spain. This week, we have 3 brilliant new articles for you. The first is a helpful guide titled 5 Essential Tips for Choosing Your Car Tyres, which covers everything from understanding the markings on the sidewall to the importance of checking tyre pressure. The second is a detailed piece on new rules for obtaining a motorbike license in Spain. And last but not least, a great article explaining overtaking on Spanish roads, a subject that is often a little misunderstood and is a must-read for any driver in Spain. As always, you can find these articles and a wealth of other useful information by visiting the N332 website, n332.es, or just search N332, and you will find us. I've also been asked to mention an important change in legislation, specifically about insurance. The new Motor Vehicle Insurance Act was approved in July, and this new law, which you can read all about by following the link in our episode description, promises to improve coverage, compensation and safety for victims of road accidents and makes it mandatory for vehicles like electric scooters to have insurance. Read all about it on the website.
If you have any questions for a future episode, you can send an email to news@n332.es or follow the links on the website.
And now, let's turn back the clock and look back through motoring history for the coming week. We begin in the UK on the 17th of August, 1896, with a truly tragic and historical first. It was on this day that Bridget Driscoll of Croydon became the first person in the UK to be killed in a motoring accident. She was struck by a Roger Benz car at Crystal Palace in London, which was travelling at just 4 miles per hour. The driver was acquitted of any wrongdoing, with the coroner ruling her death accidental, stating that he hoped such a thing would never happen again. A heartbreaking start to the story of the motor car in the UK. Then, on the 12th of August 1930, we saw the passing of a motoring pioneer. Václav Lorin, the co-founder of what would become the Skoda automobile company, died at the age of 64. He started his career as a locksmith before co-founding Lorin and Clement, a company that initially produced bicycles before moving on to motorcycles and then, in 1905, to automobiles. The company was later merged with the Skoda Works in 1925, and the rest, as they say, is history. And on that historical note, that's all we have time for this week. Thank you for tuning in to the N332 podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to subscribe and leave us a review. Join us next week for more news and analysis from the world of road safety and traffic law. I've been Mark Nolan. Until then, drive safely, and we'll see you out and about.
That was the N332 podcast, brought to you by marknolanspodcast.com. And out producers, Mad Black Cat. You can subscribe to future episodes on your favourite podcast platform, or visit the links on the website. Just Google us, and you will find us. My name is Lily, I'm not actually real, and you can find out more about how we use AI on the website.